Welcome to Tax Talk with the Tax Queen. My name is Heather Ryan. I am also known as the Tax Queen.
Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about 3 ways to deduct 100% of your business meals. This is really important to understand, especially as RV entrepreneurs that are traveling. We still might have to eat out with clients or meet up with clients to provide meals, or even employees or contractors or something, or maybe do it as an incentive, as a bonus, as a, hey, I really appreciate your work. So let's just go through some of the reasons. There are basically 3 new rules or laws that were enacted by the IRS kind of 2020. That came out of COVID times. It happened. So for 2021 and 2022, the IRS is allowing 100% of your business meals, as long as you follow a few rules, right? And make sure that they're actually from restaurants. So first of all, like, what is a business meal, right? It used to be 50%. So 2020 and the previous years before that, the few previous years were 50%. So limited to 50% of meals deduction as an expense. And so that upping it to 100% is actually really nice. And it's really to help that restaurant industry recover from COVID and basically support them as we hopefully continue our economic recovery. So to qualify for the 100% business deduction, you do need to have a meal provided by an actual restaurant. Okay, it can't be go to the grocery store and buy food and provide it to yourself or your employees or whatever. It has to be a meal from a restaurant or a place that is providing ready-made meals, right? And most likely a grocery store is not providing ready-made meals. That's not their goal. So this can include delivery, so using Uber Eats or Grubhub, DoorDash or whatever to get your food to your door if you don't want to go out, or if you don't have time to go out when you're hosting a meeting or having a client, having client talk. So let's just say rule number 1 for taking business meals is it has to be ordinary and necessary for business, right? So basically, it has to be needed to conduct your everyday business, meet with clients, meet with potential clients, meet with customers, okay? Number 2, you're not supposed to deduct anything that's lavish or extravagant. I wouldn't really worry about this. Never really seen something that's been disallowed. I mean, maybe don't go to like the fanciest steakhouse in town, but price isn't always reflection of that it's lavish, because some places are more expensive than others. Some food is more expensive than others, and that's okay. You have to be present at the meal. So that's rule number 3. You can't just provide a meal to your customer or your client. You have to be there with them and enjoying that meal with them. So you have to be with a supplier, with their employer, I mean, even a partner. So if you have a partnership or an S Corp where there's multiple members, and you have a partner meeting or member meeting, that's fine. You want to have a meal, talk business over a meal, that's perfectly fine, but you must be present there, okay? Doesn't have to be a current customer. It can be a current, established, or prospective, right? So you're working with them to gain their business. So then what qualifies as a restaurant? Okay, remember 100% of business meals, but it must be provided by a restaurant or ready-made food. So a restaurant is food or, produces food or beverage that is consumed on the business's premises. Obviously, this can be an exception when you're doing DoorDash or Grubhub, no problem there. So a restaurant is not selling prepackaged food like a grocery store. So grocery store, specialty food stores, maybe like a cheese shop or something we're talking about, beer, wine, liquor stores, a drug store where you can pick up a few snacks or, treats, convenience stores, newsstands, vending machines, none of those count as a restaurant, okay? So anything like that, the 50% limit would still apply. So if you go to the grocery store and buy granola bars to give to your employees just to have snacks throughout the day, 50% limit on that, just so you're aware. Let's just go through some examples. So maybe it will be a little clearer in your mind where you can apply this 100% deduction and where it does not apply. So an example would be you meet a customer or a client for lunch. It's either at your office or you go to the restaurant. It doesn't really matter. You order, the food and you have it, you enjoy it. You're present at the meal with your prospective customer and you enjoy the meal with them. You talk business, 100% deductible, right? Perfect. Same thing, even if you have it delivered. So maybe you're going to meet them outside of the park because it's a beautiful day. Same thing, 100%, no problems there. Let's say you're driving home, right, from an overnight seminar or conference, and on your way home, you stop at the gas station, you get gas, and you go inside and you buy some snacks. 50% deductible because it's not a meal, right? Like it's not a restaurant, rather. Okay, I kind of consider that maybe not a meal too. It's just a snack, right? So it's prepackaged, not necessarily for immediate consumption. It's something to take with you for the road. Doesn't count. 50% expense. If you're traveling and you happen to have meals for yourself because you're on an overnight business trip or you're attending a conference, you stop at McDonald's or you stop at, Shake Shack, I don't know, whatever your preference is, to buy a hamburger, okay, for lunch, right? Burger and fries, 100% deductible, right? Travel meal, that it's needed, as you're traveling. So these are just some examples. I know a lot of you guys are, living in an RV or nomadic, so you might not have an office, right? So that doesn't really apply to you. You're all virtual, like with remote employees and remote contractors. So you most likely don't have a break room or anything where you're providing food for your employees. But if you did, just remember that you have to be present at the meal. So if you meet up with a contractor to discuss work and go over things, and you have a meal with them, you go out for pizza, you go out for a burger, whatever it is, 100% deductible for sure. But just remember that. So the other question I get asked around meals is, what about the per diem? And so if you're familiar, the IRS does allow a per diem allowance for expense instead of taking receipts, and it actually might be higher sometimes for those who travel and eat rather, inexpensively. It may be higher to take the per diem. And this year in 2021 and 2022, I recommend actually deducting 100% of your business meals and keeping those receipts because most likely it's going to end up being higher. So in previous years, when it was only allowed 50% deductible, I totally understand why you would do a per diem. If you're not familiar with a per diem, let's just give an example. So you go out of town for business, right? And you spend $10 or $15 for breakfast, you spend $20 for lunch, you spend $30 on dinner, and then maybe you have to get a coffee in the afternoon for $5 to help you get you through the day. You buy all those items from qualifying restaurants, and yes, Starbucks might count for a coffee perspective. And if you use the per diem method, you can only deduct 50% of the $56. So that's $28. Okay, $56 is the per diem allowed amount. So you deduct $28. If you deduct your actual expense of the $65, right? We spent $10 on breakfast, $20 for lunch, $30 for dinner, and $5 on a coffee in the afternoon. So that's $65. Perfect, right? So it's actually higher. I do recommend keeping records. I know the IRS says if it's under $75, you don't need to, but I am a big proponent of keeping records and keeping receipts regardless. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't really cost anything to store stuff nowadays. Basic receipts, you take pictures of it and you don't need to keep the paper. So I think that's pretty simple. So just as a review, 2021, 2022, the IRS is allowing 100% of business meals eaten or provided by a restaurant ready to eat, ready to consume. You have to be present there with your prospective client, with your business partners, with your customer, or with your employee or contractor. So awesome, right? Who doesn't want to take this deduction, right? No one wants to leave that on the table. So I do suggest using this for 2021 and 2022. Thanks a lot.